All right, so how are you doing, everyone? So yeah, it's been a really hot day here today. Been on a Palestine rally and had some lunch while I was out. It's been so hot today. Anyway, I wanted to make a response video to this video. I've already watched this, but I want to make a response to this anyway. So as some people, most of you probably already know, Gary Yourofsky is back, and apparently he's still a complete shithead. So yeah, Natalie Fulton has made a good video here, exposing a lot of what the stuff he's said in the past. And I'm assuming that some of the stuff he's saying still same as today. Anyway, let's get into it.
What's up, everybody? Natalie here, and today I want to talk about Gary Yourofsky's return to vegan activism
And look, he's got a complete beard on him now.
as the community seems somewhat divided over it. Some people are
Hmm.
thrilled that he's back, and in their eyes he can do no wrong, and others think that he's a
Yeah, Gary vegans or Gary stands over. Pathetic they are. Even after everything he said, and they're just as bad as well.
racist Zionist and
Yep,
shouldn't even
yep.
be allowed at events. In this video, I'm hoping to bring some nuance to the discussion, highlight some of the vegan community's concerns, and respond to Gary's points. I'm not going to respond to anything he said 10 years ago because, we all change. I've changed in the last 10 years. I wasn't even a vegan back then. And frankly, he's given me a
Neither was I.
lot to work with just over this last week. If you're
Speaking of which, though, even though it was 10 years ago, I think Gary's probably still the same as he was back then, to an extent.
you're not familiar with Gary Yourofsky, he is regarded as one of the most influential animal liberation activists of our time. He's liberated thousands of animals, spoken to hundreds of thousands of students about veganism, and his speech from Georgia Tech in 2010 has millions of views and turned countless people vegan. I first came across his speech shortly after going vegan, and back then I was burning with rage at the world, specifically at meat eaters, so watching Gary was cathartic. He spoke eloquently, unapologetically, he didn't sugarcoat anything, and he's wildly charismatic. He was active for 18 years and retired 10 years ago, mostly due to burnout, but now he's back, which has a lot of people wondering why now. There are some theories that he's been hired by the Israeli government to spread
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, if everything's going on. The only reason he's back is to stir up more Zionist, pro-Israel, anti-Palestine hate, and try and put anti-intersectionalism first and then what have you. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
propaganda, but this is why Gary
And this one here's another twat, George Martin, absolute far-right cunt.
says he returned.
Right now, the universe is guiding me to come on back and do some things. I'm definitely going to be helping the sanctuaries, especially Sasha Farm back in Michigan. It's a place very near and dear to my heart.
It's funny, I actually visited Sasha Sanctuary over the weekend because it's the closest sanctuary to my parents' house in Michigan, and it was a lovely place, so I'm glad he's raising money for them. I'm going to donate any ad revenue I make from this video to Sasha.
Give credit where credit's due, yeah.
So please like and share so it can spread to more people. In this video, we're going to talk about intersectionality, politics, misanthropy, culty behavior, and of course, Israel-Palestine. Let's start with intersectionality.
I now firmly believe the number one impediment to the progression of animal rights is human rights. Because once you bring humans into the mix, guess who doesn't get talked about anymore? And they rarely get talked about as it is. We have to stop focusing on humans and acting like humans are on the top pedestal.
No, we're not on the top pedestal. We got to talk about it because there's a genocide going on. You got so much other shit happening. You're just a cunt.
Because as far as I'm concerned, we're not.
I think saying human rights is the number one problem is completely insane.
You're the problem, not you. Gary and George and people like them, they're the real problem. They're the ones bringing veganism down and turning it into a toxic shithole.
for a couple of reasons. First of all, Gary hasn't even been in the movement for the last decade, so why is he so confident that he knows our biggest
Well, just because he's not being online doesn't mean he's not being in the movement. But yeah, still.
problem? As someone who's been heavily involved in the animal rights movement for the last 4 years, I basically started right after the world opened up after COVID. I definitely don't think that human rights is the biggest issue. I've spent
No.
time with animal rights groups all across the
The biggest issue is the injustices, what's happening to the people, not the activism itself.
United States, from doing outreach with AV to open rescue and
AV, they've gone complete shit now as well, haven't they?
disruptions to DXE to pressure
And DXC as well, yeah, they're like proper racists as well, aren't they?
campaigns and ballot initiatives. And I've met hundreds of activists, and all of them are very focused on animal rights. Yes, sometimes we discuss other issues and advocate for them, but that doesn't mean we're ignoring animal rights or putting
Yeah, well, yeah, but a lot of them are ignoring. They just say like animals only, NHF, non-humans first, and have to be quite racist and what have you.
humans first. The issues I have seen with intersectionality are more that people disagree with each other on how we should handle certain human issues, and that can lead to infighting and conflict, which
Yeah.
is a problem, but that's more of a problem with conflict management than intersectionality itself. As animal advocates, we're up against trillion-dollar industries with huge amounts of political power and influence, as well as the status quo on their side. We're constantly bombarded with the same excuses like crop deaths over and over. We face constant online backlash.
What this fuck off.
We'll have issues with our friends and family because of differences in our values, and sometimes it feels like we're not even making progress. Saying that animal rights is failing because of intersectionality just isn't true,
No, it's not
especially when you
true.
consider what we're
Bullshit.
up against. I think when someone makes a bold claim like this, they should back it up with evidence, which
It's not failing as such, it's just that the meat industry is just so massive and so many meat eaters, it's hard to get the message across in a lot of time. There's not enough education. It's got fuck all to do with intersectionality or human rights.
Gary certainly doesn't do, and he doesn't do for anything that I'm
By the way, animal rights, human rights, what's the difference?
responding to in this video. There isn't much evidence about the biggest problem in the animal rights movement, but there is this study by Pax Fauna about why organizers quit. And I think it's a good starting point for this type of research, because if we can't retain organizers and activists, we're never going to make progress. So what does it say about intersectionality? First, we should mindfully recruit from underrepresented groups like minorities because most organizers in the US are white, and since it's more common to recruit people like you, then it can end up only being white people at events, and that makes others feel unwelcome. That's really all the study says about intersectionality, so now I'm going to offer some anecdotal evidence about why I think we should be intersectional as a movement, and I want to clarify what I mean because it seems like George and Gary are using a different definition of
because George and Gary, they're just full of shit. They're just fucking racist, bigots, and what have you, and they're fucking assholes. So are some certain other people I know who are up Gary's ass and George's ass.
intersectionality, which we can see when George makes this
Gary, the vegan movement in the UK is overrun by those more focused on gatekeeping and wokeism. The AR also pandering to this TC, cancelling the AR, fuck off. Moody Magpie, give you a £15 donation. He can fuck off as well.
bizarre statement here.
The animal rights movement is the only movement that intersectionality is applied to.
Yeah, he's like this. Yeah, he's still full of shit. He's still a dickhead. He's to the mayor 10 years. Yeah, he's still a dickhead.
Because when it comes to Black Lives Matter, they hate a motherfucker who shouts
Fuck
all
off,
lives
George.
matter
Fuck
or
off.
white
Right.
lives
Fuck
matter. They
off.
say, no.
Yeah.
This
Fuck
is
off.
just,
Fuck
we
off. No,
understand
not
that all
interested.
lives
Blah,
matter,
blah,
but
blah,
this
blah,
is
blah.
about black people.
Blah,
But
blah,
then
blah,
what
blah,
happens in
blah,
the
blah,
animal
blah,
rights
blah,
movement?
blah.
We
Fuck
want to,
off.
we'd like to
Fuck
keep this focused
off.
on
No one's
the animals
interested.
that I care about.
All lives matter is not intersectionality, it's
See, this is what I mean. He's a fucking shithole. He pisses me off every fucking time I see his ugly face. I just want to punch him in the fucking face. George fucking Martin, just because you've got the same name as a Beatles manager. You think you're so up yourself. Oh, look at me. My name's George Martin. Oh yeah. Oh, fuck off.
derailment. Intersectionality means understanding that oppressive systems overlap, and none of us are truly free until we all are. When people say Black Lives Matter, they're not saying only Black Lives Matter, they're saying that Black lives are treated as if they matter
Yeah.
less.
Yeah,
We can
like
see
this,
evidence of this in the data on
like police brutality and just in general.
US prison system, how cops are more likely to
Yeah,
kill black people, plenty of other data
and be
to
more
support
rough.
this. So when people say Black Lives Matter, they're highlighting systemic racism in the United States,
Absolutely.
saying that it's a problem and we need to confront it.
Thank you,
All
yeah.
Lives Matter responds by saying that everyone is already treated equally and mocking the BLM movement. And it's basically used as a thought-terminating cliche, which is where they're trying to end the discussion, not further it. Like when people say, let's just agree to disagree. That's certainly not what I mean by intersectionality. When I say it, I mean supporting and working with other social justice
Absolutely.
movements.
Absolutely.
I don't think animal activists
And she's right. That's what I think. That's what intersectionality is as well. It's all linked together. Everything.
have an obligation to work with other social
Anti-racism, anti-bigotry, anti-homophobia, anti-Zionism, and animal rights. Everything as well. It's all links together. All injustices.
justice movements, but I think it helps our activism because we can learn from them. It also
Yes.
increases our social circle
Yes.
and normalizes being vegan in different groups. George and Gary say animal rights is the only movement that's expected to be intersectional, but that's
Right.
just
Well, they're just full of shit.
not true from
No,
my
you're right.
experience. I've only really
Yeah,
been
from
involved
anyone
with
experience.
climate and urbanist movements, as well as some recent pro-immigration stuff too,
Yes,
and the
I'm
whole
really glad.
time, all of these groups are constantly trying to collaborate and build coalitions with other
Absolutely.
movements.
As you
As
should.
far as I'm aware, George and Gary haven't been involved with other movements, so I think
No, dude, that's probably the main. That's probably the reason. Yeah. If you only stick to animal rights, then you're probably likely to be. Yeah. You know what I mean?
that they just made this up. With the war on
Yeah,
immigrants
it's full of
going on in
shit.
the US right now, I think it's especially important for us to support them, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it benefits us. When the government has the power to deport whoever they want, they'll use it to target animal activists. We already know the FBI has targeted us for years, and
Yeah.
this gives them
Yeah.
an easy
And
way to
what's it called? The Animal Enterprise Act, something it was called, which is what took down Shaq, one of the groups. I think disgusting, and now they're going after Palestine activism here. It's just some of those actions are very similar to the animal rights demos what the group did.
get rid of us. The fear of deportation also hurts our community. I
Yeah.
lead a social media working group for Pro Animal Future
Oh, God help us when we have the Olympics and the World Cup. What's I going to do then? Oh my goodness.
in Colorado, and one of our activists quit because he was worried that posting anything online would get him deported, and it's a
Yeah.
valid fear. We saw what's going on with Mahmoud Kamil, who's facing deportation for
I know.
pro-Palestine activism.
You have to let him go. Let him go back to his university studies and catch up. He's probably really far behind now in that. You can let him go.
What would stop them from deporting someone who's fighting for animal rights?
Yeah.
Nothing. That's why we need to stand up to fight against this now. The other reason we should build bridges with immigrants
I'm glad groups like Liberate or Die and Animal Rising and maybe a few others have stood up to the certain group in Palestine here and said that this and animal rights we're all connected. Because what's to stop the government prescribing animal rights groups? What's to stop them going after We the Free or the Save movement or whatever? You know what I mean?
Is because they're the biggest demographic working in slaughterhouses. This was a big issue with our campaign to ban slaughterhouses in Denver. The entire election became about how white activists were
A war on factory farming begins with proposed Devon slaughterhouse ban, and immigrant workers may be the first casualties. Denverites. Okay.
taking jobs from immigrants, and it really
I'm
sucked.
guessing the Denverite is probably a local newspaper.
If we'd had more support from the Hispanic community, and we did have some support, just not enough public support, and if we'd had the support of unions as well, then maybe we could have won that election and won real change for
Probably,
animals. So those are the main reasons I think intersectionality is important. It's morally right, it's strategic, and it makes us stronger. Now let's talk about politics.
Lobbying,
I agree with that.
I think, is garbage. I don't think you can pass a law that people don't understand why the law has been passed. Plus, you're not going to get anyone to enforce it anyway. So I see a lot of groups going, "Oh, Gary, we should put laws on the books." Now, the laws come at the end when everybody understands it, everybody gets it.
Saying that we shouldn't do any lobbying is crazy to me, especially because the animal agriculture industry spends so much time lobbying, and that's part of why the animal rights movement is struggling right now. Because the meat industry has spent so much time lobbying, they get billions of dollars in subsidies every year, and they just got even more with Trump's new big beautiful bill, adding 50.
Yeah, that's full of shit as well. The big beautiful bill which goes after everyone, like migrants and taxes and so on and so forth. Can't remember the actual detail, but yeah, that's really bad as well.
$58 billion to the $38 billion they were already receiving every year. We know that price has an outsized impact on consumer behavior, so if we want to change consumer behavior, then we need to change the subsidies. The meat industry has also been successful in banning lab-grown meat in 7 states, and that's going to hurt animals too. As animal activists, we have to fight back. A lot of people wonder why the gun laws in the US are so lax, and it's not because that's what a majority of people want.
Gun abolition, not gun control. That's not enough. It needs to be gun abolition.
Most voters want stricter gun control. It's because of the NRA or the
Although, yeah, in this day and age, we probably would need guns, even though I don't agree with it. Because there are certain people what need taken care of, if you know what I mean.
National Rifle Association, which is the most powerful lobby in the country. Politicians are afraid to go against them because if they do, then they won't get reelected. One of our goals at Pro Animal Future is to create a powerful voter bloc.
Yeah, we need to burn down the NRA. Death to the NRA.
Or lobbying group that will pressure representatives to pass pro-animal legislation and hold them accountable if they don't. Speaking of Pro Animal Future, I don't usually ask for donations in the middle of a video, but we have a really important match that's expiring at the end of July. If we don't raise enough money, then we'll leave $50,000 on the table. So please, if you've ever wanted to donate, now is the time to do it. You can turn $25 into $50, link in description. Gary also says that the public doesn't understand why laws are being passed, and that can be true with legislation, but it's definitely not true with Pro Animal Future's other main strategy, which is ballot initiatives. With ballot initiatives, the voters themselves vote on the law and decide if it gets passed. With our Denver campaign to ban fur and slaughterhouses, even though they didn't pass, they became the hottest and most expensive issues on the local ballot. Everyone in the city was talking about animal rights. We got a ton of press coverage, and the meat industry spent $2 million against our campaigns, which hurts their bottom line.
Vote no on 309. I'm not sure what that means.
Gary says that laws can't even be enforced, and that's true of every law. Not every thief or murderer gets caught, but we can write the laws in a certain way where they can be enforced by citizens, which increases the impact it'll have for animals. I think it's ridiculous how Gary brings up progressive successes like gay marriage equality or recreational weed and doesn't acknowledge that those came from lobbying and ballot initiatives.
Yeah,
Most social change happens in the political sphere, so telling animal activists
and going out on the streets and saying this and this and this, the megaphones and the placards and banners.
not to get involved in politics not only hurts the movement, but it hurts the animals. Another way Gary is harming the movement is
Oh, here we go. This George Martin twat's back on again.
by being misanthropic.
I was lecturing in rural Ohio, and I actually said to the newspaper guy, I would not want anything bad to happen to Greg, the pig farmer that I talked to today. We had a discussion. So it started off where I didn't want anyone to be harmed. But after all those years, I'm like, you know what? Humans are a scourge. We suck. We don't understand compassion and decency.
Look, I'm not going to pretend that I never feel this way. When you see the horrible violence that's happening to animals, when people constantly mock you just for being vegan, and when you see how slow progress is, it's really easy to start hating everyone. But the problem with misanthropy is that it's not helpful and it hurts your ability to keep fighting.
Yeah, and it's really toxic, and the same with ethicalism as well, which is like a similar kind of thing. It's
And we have
poison.
data that shows this. A 2020 paper in Conservation
It's bad for your mental health, and people will be dealing with such people.
Biology found that activists who cultivate hope, the opposite of misanthropy, are more resilient and less likely to burn out. Another study found that hope plays a central role in motivating collective action. It enhances perceptions of efficacy and emotional engagement. When people believe that change is possible and that they can be part of it, they're more likely to stay active and engaged. And that's the real danger of misanthropy. It destroys your belief in other people's potential, and without that, you stop organizing, you stop protesting, and you burn out, which is exactly what Gary says happened to him. He left the movement because he hated people, so I don't understand why he's back and promoting the worldview that made him leave in the first place. You don't have to ignore the suffering that people create in the world, but you do
It's like you said before, isn't it? It's probably because of the whole Palestine thing and trying to stir up more hatred and shit.
You have to believe that they can do better. That's what makes social change possible. Not despair, not misanthropy, hope. Now I want to talk about some of the cultish behavior, like Gary's arrogance, how people hero
Look at the smirk on his face. Fuck off,
worship
George.
him, and why I think it's a problem.
Tell you what, I had a ton of success in rural America. I really did. And I converted hunters. I did, a lot of them.
Do you know the majority of the people that hate me? Guess who fucking opened up their mind and made them vegan?
Guess who fucking no.
Right here. I was told that all the people in Frankfurt that were trying to get me kicked out of the fundraiser, they're all Gary vegans.
First of all, I don't think we should use language like converting because it implies religion, and veganism is not a religion. Religion is based on faith and belief, whereas veganism is based on scientific evidence. The evidence that animals feel pain and suffer, that we don't need to eat them to survive and thrive, and that animal farming is causing tons of issues.
And they got a thing about that George and Rachel, his wife, slagging off people who, because they're against vegan camp out, because they called out for what it is. And Rachel Martin, she's like stirring up a lot of shit.
In the world, like antibiotic resistance, pandemics, and climate change. Non-vegans love to say that veganism is a cult so they can justify dismissing us, so let's not make it easier for them. I think it's concerning how Gary refers to people as
But people like Gary and George, they make it sound like it's a cult. So how toxic they are. Same with fucking that vegan teacher, for that matter.
Gary vegans. Personally, I don't really like when people tell me that they went vegan because of me, because I know that it's not true. They went vegan because of the animal.
I've never heard of you before I even went vegan anyway. I've never heard of a movie. I went vegan my own way because of what I've seen and because of something I've been thinking for a long time, even way before I've seen all this internet stuff.
Maybe I helped educate them on animal farming, but I think that's a really important distinction to make. Because when you blur that line, when you start centering yourself instead of the animals, you open the door to arrogance.
What these cages by the way behind her? Is she like in some kind of park? It's quite nice actually. The trees in the background.
And ego-driven leadership, and movements built on ego are fragile.
When I needed to decompress.
£50 donation, fucking now, from Samuel M. Hey Gary, I've recently started a non-profit to help sanctuaries play a stronger role in the animal rights movement and engage the public more effectively. We're starting in France, so I'd love to know how we could help in US sanctuaries sector. That's good. Okay, that's good. I don't agree with that £50 donation to these people, but you should give that to the sanctuaries. They need it more.
Yes, I drove up to
Oh,
Manchester.
actually, speaking of which, all proceeds will go to the Saffron Farm Sanctuary. Okay, I'll take that back. Anyway, yeah, the deal is still the sanctuaries is good.
Michigan, and I walked around and I hugged and I kissed Big Red and I hugged and I kissed Bima and all those pigs and Gary Tofu, who was a pig there for a long time. I did make them name him after me. I was there the day somebody brought this baby pig. I'm like, there's a baby pig in that van, and I ran up to it. I'm like, you have to call him Gary Tofu. And he was everybody's favorite for a long time.
Like, if you really don't care about adoration, then why insist that a pig be named after you? And then say that he was everyone's
Yeah, that is a bit narcissistic, to be frank.
favorite pig, like the name somehow made him more lovable. We can see evidence of hero worship in the comments on that live stream. No one is correcting the inaccurate things Gary said or
I know, yeah. Same as before, it's like same fucking vegan teacher and Tash. Oh, we love you. Yeah,
pushing back at all. It's just endless praise. I think that's dangerous
no,
because when we
that is what's making like a cult and so-called influencers. Bullshit.
idolize individuals, we lose the ability to think critically and evaluate if
Yeah,
what they're
absolutely.
saying is actually
Absolutely.
true. It also makes a lot of people afraid to call him out. I was afraid to even make this
I'm calling him out right now. He's a fucking arsehole. He's a Zionist piece of shit, and he's a far-right fucking arsehole. How is that for calling anyone out?
video because I
And George as
know
well.
people are going to say that I'm just doing this for attention or he's done so much more
Attention. He's a fucking piece of fucking
than
shit.
me for the animals and I'll never be as good of an advocate as him. And, you know, maybe that's true, but just because he's done a lot for animals in the past doesn't
And I think there are some other things about Palestine, which I think is what she's going to come up to next.
mean that he's immune to criticism now.
And it's like all of us, we all have our faults and other stuff.
Now let's
We're not all stands.
get into everyone's favorite topic, Israel-Palestine. A lot of people are
Yay.
calling Gary a Zionist, and this is
Him
what he
and him.
publicly said about it.
People falsely label you as
What he said, Palestinians are the most psychotic beings on the planet. That's from his words. And probably go look for that video shortly. It's absolute evil.
as a Zionist. But
He is.
actually, the comment you made was that the land that there's this dispute
Oh yeah,
going over it doesn't belong to either of them. And you said the Americas didn't belong to whites or the natives. Who
Yeah.
do you say the land?
It was what was that video? Palestinians, blacks, and other hypocrites. That video has been long taken down, but there is a clip. There are some clips.
belongs to, Gary?
The land belongs to the animals. We stole it from them. We're all thieves, and then we fight over. Wait, is it the Palestinians? Is it the Israelis? Is it the Americans?
It's the Palestinians land which you were talking about just then.
Native Americans. It belongs to the animal kingdom. But I also don't see a reason why we all can't live peacefully amongst each other, and that
You got a funny way of showing that.
includes the animals.
So that's what he said publicly, but let's take a look at this private email that someone posted on Reddit. An activist emailed
Oh yeah, this is I asked this to someone shared this on Discord actually, I think, and I was wondering where it came from.
Gary about something he said during an AV workshop. Gary said gay people shouldn't speak up for Palestine because Palestinians don't like them. The activist said vilifying the victim is a classic tactic of oppressive propaganda.
Yes, that's disgusting.
And that's something we see all the time with animal farmers, like when they say that it's okay to steal calves from dairy cows because the cows are bad mothers anyway. The activist calls Gary out for saying hateful things while promoting kindness to animals.
How long ago was this Reddit thingy? Is this recently or was this 5-10 years ago?
And Gary's response is pretty different from
My brother, you are 100% wrong in this issue. Radical Muslims are 100% anti-gay, 100% trans, and trans, yada, yada, yada. No, I can't be bothered reading all that.
what he said on George's stream. My brother, you are 100% wrong in this
What he said is wrong from what he said in George's stream, so I'm guessing this is quite recent, yes.
issue. Radical Muslims are 100% anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-black, anti-woman. They are the worst abusers of human rights. You got it all wrong. Then he says it shouldn't matter because he's not a human rights activist in any way, and it's fine.
Yeah, there's when we calling shit on Palestinians if he's not a human rights person. Doesn't give a fuck about people, does he? He's a complete misanthropic piece of
To
shit.
disagree with people on some things, but we should unite for the animals and not bring up human rights.
Just speak up for what you like. If it's fuck off.
The activist responds, and I think this is so ironic, that it was Gary who brought up Palestine in an animal rights workshop only to badmouth them. Then he asks what Gary would have said during the Jewish Holocaust and cites evidence from the UN about whether Israel is committing genocide. And he emphasizes that he's not hating Gary as a person, he's just asking him to reconsider punching down on people. Next, Gary responds that he's pro-trans and all this other stuff, and Israel is 100% right.
Which is bullshit. Israel's 100% right. That means you're a genocide apologist. They're 100% right in murdering children, cutting off aid and what have you. Is that what you're saying, eh?
Then he accuses the activist of being anti-Semitic. So why is
anti-Semitic? It's all
Gary
bullshit.
saying publicly that he thinks the land should be for animals, and privately that he thinks Israel is 100% right? Gary plays the victim when people call him out, even though he's the one who brought it up in the first place. And then he's acting shocked and complains about cancel culture when people respectfully question his beliefs. That's not cancellation, that's just trying to get clarity. So those are my general thoughts on Gary's comeback. I could say more, like some of the weird health claims he made without evidence, but I don't really feel like going there right now. But I'm curious, what do you think about it? Do you think Gary is this amazing hero for animals? Do you think
that's the end of that video, pretty much. And now this is what he said several years ago about Palestinians. Yeah, this is a video right here. Just a couple of minutes. This is an excerpt from his Palestinians, blacks, and other hypocrites video, which he took down. I've seen that video a long time ago. This is the thing about Palestinians. So let's watch. It's absolutely shocking. So I'm assuming this is what he still believes.
I believe the Palestinians are... The latest lie being spread about me is that I am a racist.
Yeah, you are. You're a racist piece of shit.
Because in a calm and sober assessment of the Israeli-Palestinian situation, I said that Palestinians are the most psychotic group of people on the planet. I stand by that statement. Now you might be wondering why I believe the
do you stand by it today? Yeah, but if you said Israel is 100% right, then yeah, you
Palestinians are slightly crazier than the Israelis. First, the Israelis would gladly live with the Palestinians.
No, they wouldn't. If the Israelis would gladly live with the Palestinians, why are they causing a genocide?
In Israel. The reverse is not true. The Gaza Strip Palestinians, run by the terrorist Hamas government, refuse to live
are terrorists as well.
Amongst the Jews in Israel. I'm actually amazed that anyone would think that I would stop preaching animal liberation in any country because of some human conflict.
There's some human conflict. The way he says it, it's so...
Liberation comes first in my eyes because they're fighting over a piece of land. And history has shown that when countries go to war over land or oil, they don't give a...
I'm not going to watch it anymore. He's a piece of shit. So is George Martin. He'd be like I said, when the thing near the end, he's like, oh, fuck human rights. Anyway, yeah, that's my piece for today. Gary Yourofsky, go fuck yourself. George Martin, go fuck yourself. there you go. And thank you, Natalie, for exposing all this. And anyway, get off. Yeah.